Hi guys, welcome or back to our channel. I hope that you guys are excited for today's video. I have been wanting to film this video for a while now, but honestly, I had to get myself in like a good place mentally and be able to talk about stuff without like completely breaking down and losing my mind. So I thought today is a good day and I felt like I could film this today and be good. So if you have watched my channel previously, you know that I have always been super open about my mental health and struggling with anxiety and depression. I also filmed a video during pregnancy talking about like how I was handling a high-risk pregnancy and kind of my mental health during that period of time. So I thought that I would share a little bit about post-pregnancy and postpartum depression and anxiety and how I've been coping, how me and Braxton are handling the NICU journey and taking care of ourselves, I guess. My hopes in sharing this video and being super open and vulnerable with you guys is that I'll be able to help other people that are going through similar problems and issues. Even if you don't have a baby in the NICU, postpartum depression and anxiety can be super scary and definitely very dark and heavy. So I just thought if I could shed a little bit of light and give some support to other moms who are struggling, or just even people in general struggling with any type of anxiety, that some of these things might help you guys get through it. As always, I appreciate you guys' support and watching our channel. We just love you guys all so much. We've been so blessed with the support system that we have and how much love the boys have. So I'm just gonna share a little bit about where we're at in our journey. That way you guys can understand where I'm at and where we're at if this is the first video you're stumbling upon on our channel. So I delivered triplet boys at 27 weeks pregnant on May 6th, and we are currently on day 101 in the NICU with really no insight in near for two of them. So we've been told probably late this year or early into next year even for one of our kiddos before they even can come home. So it's going to be a long time still, and it feels like it's already been like 6 years literally. We've had quite the NICU journey already, and like I said, we're not even close to it being over. So I just kind of want to share with you guys what this has been like and how we're getting through it and how I think it would help other people, like I said, in similar situations. So I am tired. We're like so mentally and emotionally and physically exhausted. But one thing that someone said that really stuck out to me is you're allowed to feel every emotion that you feel. And at the end of the day, like, you're still gonna get up and show up for your kids. And that has stuck with me so much. And I repeat it to myself every day, literally daily. Like, I am allowed to feel grief and anger and bitterness and be sad, be mad. Like, I'm allowed to feel all of those emotions and even like sulk in them sometimes. Like, sometimes you really just have to like cry it out. Like, I went from crying like hardly at all, just like somewhat during the NICU experience, to I think reaching my due date was a little bit triggering because we were told that that's usually when, you know, babies come home, is like their due date. Unfortunately, that hasn't happened and it's not going to happen. So I think that was a little bit triggering, and I started crying like this last month and a half or so. I was crying like pretty much every day, and we're talking like full-on mental breakdown cries, like not just like some tears here and there. You're allowed to feel all of those emotions, but you also have to like take care of yourself during that time. I don't know, it's really, really difficult to pull yourself out of like that dark of a place where I feel like I was in, and it sucks. Like, it is just not a fun experience. But at the end of the day, I'm going to get up and I'm going to go see my boys and be there for them and be their mom, and that's the end of it. Like, I'm gonna do it because I'm their parent and I love them, and so yeah. But anyways, I think like first and foremost, the most important thing is to let yourself feel all of those emotions. And like, I'm not saying it's necessarily a good thing to cry every single day, but if, you know, you need to take a little bit of time to throw yourself a pity party, like, do so, because it's so hard. Postpartum is hard regardless, but then if you did have like a NICU journey or like a preemie baby or just a scary, complicated pregnancy even, like, those hormones and like emotions after you deliver are like insane. I truly never understood how crazy hormones are until delivering a baby, and then I was like, this is a real thing. And if you're pumping and, you know, or breastfeeding, that's so hard too. Like, it's literally a full-time job. Even if you're not doing that and you're doing formula, like, newborns are just hard. Like, postpartum is so hard and it takes a lot out of you. It really does. So I've started just trying to do some things that will help take care of me during this journey, because I can't be the best version of myself and be a good mom to the boys if I don't take care of me first. I reached out to a psychologist that works at our NICU, actually. So it's like a NICU psychologist, which is really cool because it helps to talk to somebody who actually like can understand a little bit more. Of course, like our family and friends, they want to try and understand what we're going through, but like at the end of the day, unless you've had babies in the NICU, like you can't understand it fully. But it does help to have people who have been in the NICU, even like nurses and stuff who I've vented to, and that has helped a lot through this process. So I think if that's an option for you, then definitely like look into that if you're going through something like that. If not, even just speaking with a psychologist, a psychiatrist, a therapist to kind of help take care of some of those emotions. It's just so helpful. It really is. I'm also scheduling to go back into therapy in general and talk to kind of like a grief and life counselor. And then I'm going to be back on medication to kind of help me as well. I've been trying out Zoloft, so we'll see. I definitely have had horrible postpartum depression and anxiety, which I'm sure is not of any shock to anyone who knows me or has watched my channel, but it really didn't hit me until like this last month, and then it has just been horrible. It's terrible. Like some of the things that I was thinking in my head were really, really dark and scary, and I knew that like I just couldn't do it all on my own anymore. Like I had to reach out to like somebody specialized in this, you know. I threw myself a huge pity party for like 2 weeks, maybe like a week, where I was really dark, really, really dark place. Like, what is the purpose of me living at this point? Which sounds horrible because I just had 3 beautiful boys and they are my purpose. But when you sink that low, like it really, nothing even matters at this point. And of course I'm thinking like, how am I going to get over like missing all of this with my boys? Like it's just not fair. And it's not. It isn't fair, let's be honest. But I decided, you know, I kind of like pulled myself out of it and was like, no, like I have to do this. Like I have to be here for the boys, and I know that this is all temporary, and so I just keep trying to remind myself like this isn't forever. One day all the boys are going to be home, and one day we're not going to be living in a hospital, and that brings me a little bit of comfort, I guess you could say, but it is still really, really hard. Also, NICU moms in general are like so much more prone to postpartum depression and anxiety, obviously, because it's like you're living in a hospital. You don't even get to hold your kids. I didn't even get to hold one of my babies for like a week. And one of my babies I didn't get to hold for 2 months or something crazy. And one of my kiddos just got super sick and I wasn't able to hold him for 44 days. 44 days. Like that is so hard. Like you just don't get the same bonding experience with your babies, and it's really tough. It really is. But regardless, I feel like it's important to acknowledge every emotion. Like I've been so bitter towards people having like these perfect pregnancies and just delivering like full term and getting to take their newborns home. And it's like even like triplet parents I know are having healthy pregnancies and getting to bring their babies home within, you know, short NICU time. And it's like, it sucks. Like it's so hard, and like you're happy for them, of course. Like I would never want to wish this upon anyone, honestly. Like I really wouldn't. It's the worst thing I've ever been through, and it's so mentally draining to like get up and do this all the time. I've felt just so angry and like envious, of course, sad, like all of those things are so normal to feel. After I started talking to my psychologist, and she kind of like told me like, listen, it's okay for you to feel all these things. I started like really embracing those emotions. And I feel like since embracing some of that and just being like, yes, I am bitter. Yes, I am angry. Yes, I am sad. It's honestly helped like cope with them a little bit more, if that makes sense. Like if you acknowledge them and let them be, and you understand that you feel that way, then they almost start to like disappear. It's hard because this experience is basically like you're mourning and grieving all of the things that you didn't get to experience and all of the things that you thought it would be. And honestly, this video has been so delayed for me to make because it is so hard for me to talk about it. But just like not getting to bring 3 newborns home, or not getting to use all of the stuff that, you know, I thought that they would be able to use by now, and not putting them in their matching outfits and not holding them all together as newborns. Like it sounds stupid, but you just grieve so much of like what you thought the process was going to be. And it sucks. I mean, it's a constant grieving process, and it doesn't really end because until you have all of them home, and then even then, but until you have all of them home, like there's more and more stuff that you're grieving. You know what I mean? Like they're getting bigger, they're getting stronger and healthier, but they're getting bigger and they're growing up already, and you're grieving all of these milestones and stuff that they're hitting. And I know like eventually there's going to be more milestones when they're home, and we will have those time together, you know, but it doesn't make it any easier at all. Like it's really hard. I've struggled even going into their nursery. Like I really haven't been able to barely go in there because for instance, like Croy is already out of preemie clothes, and so I look at like all the stuff that they didn't get to wear together and use, I guess, and it's so sad. Like it's just, it hurts my heart because this isn't how it was supposed to be, and it sucks. It really sucks. But I know that they will have more milestones together, and we have like plenty of years together to experience stuff, but it is hard to like go in there and see all of their stuff. Like it's a complete disaster in there. And I think probably this week coming up is going to be the first week that I've truly felt like I could like go and be in there and get stuff done. I do have one kiddo who's getting really close to coming home, really close. And I'm holding on to that a lot right now. I think that's going to bring a whole nother level of happiness and sadness when he comes home, just because I'm going to be that much more sad that the other two aren't home. But I think it'll at least bring me a little bit of joy to have like one of my babies with me, and I'll get to like do some of that newborn stuff. So if you don't know about like preemies, when they're born, you have an actual age and you have an adjusted age. So their actual age is 3 months. They've been here for 3 months. But their adjusted age, they're only like 8 days old or something. So when you look at like their milestones and when they will accomplish stuff, they're 3 months right now, but they're not going to be doing stuff that a normal 3-month-old baby would be doing because they're 3 months behind. So we, of course, are kind of like following both their actual and adjusted age. So when Croy comes home, it will be pretty much like a newborn. Like he's doing things right now that a newborn would be doing. He is like hitting some milestones that are ahead of his time, which is great, but it'll be like having a newborn. And I think it'll keep me busy and make me happy, but it's also going to be harder to get to the hospital because we can't take him there. So it's a lot, but we are excited to like embrace that, you know? I think another thing that's hard is like, I think the other thing that's really difficult about this journey, and when you have a personality, especially like mine, where I want to be in control of things, it's really difficult to not be in control of literally anything. Like I think one thing I hold on to a lot is pumping and like making milk for the boys, because that's literally the only thing like we're really in control of. We can go in and hold and like do cares and like kind of like change diapers, take temperatures, feed a little bit. Like we're starting to be able to feed with Croy, but we've only done it once because he's lazy and we'd rather just have like OT do it right now. But we do all that we can to like be a part of it and like interact with them, if that makes sense. But we are just not in control of anything. And I hate not knowing like a set date on when they're coming home. Like it's so hard. I feel like even if it was like 5 months away, but I knew that's when they were coming home, then I would hold on to that a little bit more and, you know, be able to like have a countdown. But I just do keep telling myself every single day we're one step closer to them all being home, and that's what I'm like, I guess, holding on to right now. It's hard because you're kind of like living a constant trauma, is what like my psychologist explained it to me as. You're like going into a trauma every single day, like reliving trauma every time that we go to the hospital. And that is, it's so true. Like it's really true. And every time we leave, we're not really escaping it. Like there isn't an escape for this lifestyle right now. You know, no matter if we're at the hospital or we're at home, it's constantly on our minds, or like we're dealing with it, and it's exhausting. Like we literally never get a break from it. And until they're all home, we won't have a break from it. And I feel like even when they do come home, we're gonna have like PTSD from it. And that's another thing like my psychologist and I have talked about, is NICU PTSD is like a real thing. And I'm probably gonna be working through that too when they come home with a therapist. It's just a lot because you're constantly like remembering that time of your life, and it is traumatic, like seeing not one, but we have 3 babies like hooked up to everything and going through surgeries and procedures and getting their blood taken every day and getting x-rays and being hooked to machines that are breathing for them on full support. Like it's very traumatizing seeing your baby like that, and it's going to be something we're going to have to probably work through for a really long time. Not to mention like we are already accepting the fact they're going to probably come home with some accessories and some things that make it a little bit more difficult to take care of them versus just a regular baby. But we are willing to, obviously we don't have a choice but like embrace those things. but that's hard. I mean, it's not an easy journey at all. It's not a fun time. And when you leave, you never like truly leave. I don't feel like. We've struggled a lot too this last like month or last couple of weeks with these guilty feelings of like we don't even want to go see the boys, and it's not that we don't want to see them. It's not that we don't want to like, I love them more than anything I've ever loved in my entire life. Like I would do anything for them. And it's not that we don't want to see our kids. It's like every time we go to the hospital, it's bad news or stress, and it's triggering, honestly. And so it's like, how could you want to get up and go do that every day? And I think it's really important to talk about that too, because I feel like people feel like they have to think, oh, this is so exciting. Like I'm going to see my kid in the NICU and I get to go be with my kid. And it's supposed to be like, you're so excited and a loving time and like process like, oh, I get to hold them today. And it's just not realistic to think that that's how it's going to go. Like it's hard to want to go see your kids when they're living out of a hospital for long term. It's really hard. And I think it's okay to like fully accept that and be open and honest. The more that I've talked about that with other people and like my psychologist, the more they're like, yeah, how would you? And like make you feel normal about how you're feeling. And then you can kind of like work through those emotions. So it's like, yeah, I do still feel that way, but I'm conscious that I feel that way. So then it really like helps to work through that stuff. And I think it's, like I said, just important to like embrace all of the feelings that you're going through and like accepting that it's okay to feel that way. Also like hard sometimes, like you don't feel like a mom. Like I don't feel like I'm a mom sometimes, or that I have kids. Like when I see them, I'm like, they probably don't even know who I am. And that's really difficult to get through too. And I just know like deep down it'll get better and it'll continue getting better, but it sucks not feeling like you're a parent when you have gone through all of this stuff, like all of these emotions. And it's like, for what? Because you don't even feel like you're a parent. Like you don't even feel like you have kids, and that's hard. Like it's all hard. It's just a really difficult thing. And like I said, you're just constantly in a state of grieving and mourning and trauma. I think I'm going to share with you guys just a couple things that me and my psychologist have talked about and what's kind of like helped. Like I said, first off, getting into talking to someone, and like specifically this NICU psychologist has helped me a lot, but I'm also going to be seeing a therapist, just a normal therapist too, that I think is going to be like a long-term thing to help through all of this, because it's going to be a long journey. It doesn't end just when they come home. And I think obviously like medication is important too. Like if you can't handle things without medication. I handled things for so long, or tried to, without medication, and it just like didn't work for me. Like it was not healthy. And I spent my whole pregnancy on no medication. So after they were out, I was like, okay, like I need some assistance. So working through all of that stuff I think is super important. I have also been doing a couple things. I have my little notebook to remind me what to talk about. So I got this book that I've been reading. It's called It's Not Supposed to Be This Way: Finding Unexpected Strength When Disappointments Leave You Shattered. I like fiction and nonfiction, but I think nonfiction books during this time have helped me a little bit, just because it's like relatable content. Like you know that other people have gone through stuff, and it helps just to kind of like work through it. This book has like exercises that you can do in it that I think have actually been super beneficial to my mental health. My friend ordered me a lot of books. So this one is Small But Mighty, and you're supposed to read it to the baby in the NICU. I haven't got to read this to them yet, but I think I just love this. Like this was such a sweet idea that, you know, she did this for us. Thank you, Sydney. And this one's Breathe Mama Breathe. It's a 5-minute mindfulness for busy moms. I love this. This is such a good book, honestly. Like it is so smart, because first off, moms, brand new moms, they don't have more than like 5 minutes to sit down and do something. So this type of activity book is really helpful, and especially like for our lifestyle right now, I feel like it's super fitting. Just as an invitation to busy mamas everywhere, take 5 minutes to reset, refocus, and feel like yourself again. So it's just like these quick activities and readings, and I think, like I said, stuff that's like relatable to me helps me whenever I'm in these situations. And then this one is Better Early Than Never, and I haven't started this one yet, but it is about a couple who had a preterm baby. I'm pretty sure it's the same exact time as ours came. Yeah, she was 6 months. I'm really excited to read this. I think that this will be really eye-opening, because it talks about like their whole journey, and then like how they came out on top, and like, you know, what they went through and how it was worth it. So I think like this book is going to be really good too to read. And then I have been coloring, doing my little coloring activities. I don't color a lot necessarily at a time. Like I colored a sun. I know in another one I colored like some trees. The thing I like about the thing I like about this book is it's a worship reflection book almost. So what I've been doing that I just think is cute is I just like flip to a random page and then it says, I carried you on eagle's wings, Exodus 19:4. And so then it'll say like, you yourselves have seen what I did to Egypt and how I carried you on eagle's wings and brought you to myself. So I think it's like, I'm a very big believer in like God sending me signs and signals. And so I am so weird. Like I'll come back to this in a minute. I'm getting ahead of myself, but I'll just like flip to a random page and it's like so fitting to my emotions for that day. And I really believe like that's God like talking to me through, you know, all of this. And the other thing I was going to say that I've been doing is reading devotions. I have an app that I've been reading devotions, which I will put up so you guys can see what it is because I don't really remember what it's called, but they're like 5-10 minute devotions and they're so fast. And there's one for morning and one for night. And I just love those because like I said, like it's hard for me sometimes to stay focused for a long period of time. So these fast like 5-minute exercises are like, it's just more beneficial to me because I struggle like staying focused. And so I love that app and it's like I said, God like speaks to me through these devotions. I feel like they're so fitting for like my emotions specific to that day. And I just know like he's telling me he's with me and it's going to be okay. I have also been trying to do like positive affirmations and I do them in my head a lot. I'm really bad about speaking them into existence out loud, but even just like typing them sometimes has helped me into my phone. And I've been trying to find an affirmation app that doesn't cost money because I think if I like had affirmations, I would like say them to myself every day, but I think I might like look on Pinterest or something and print some out and like just repeat them. So saying like, I am a good mom, like I am doing everything I can for myself. I love and take care of my babies. Like just repeating those things like I am strong. I'm doing everything I can. I'm doing the best I can. I think that there's a lot to be said for that. And like my psychologist said, it sounds stupid, like that wouldn't help you, but it truly does because your brain is wired that way to where if you repeat those things, you start to believe them. And I've even been like, you're going to get through this. This journey is, you're strong enough for this journey. Like those things really do make a difference and make an impact. So I think those are positive to do as well. The other thing that I have done to help a little bit with my postpartum depression side of things is my psychologist told me to put a bunch of things in a jar. So whether they be like productive or fun things. So my jar, for instance, has like, it has a lot of stuff in it, honestly, but like laundry, clean, walk Phoenix. He looked at me like, are we going for a walk? More productive things, so just stuff like that, deep cleaning. I have even like content stuff like edit, film. I have make 5 Instagram posts, you know, stuff like that. And then I also have fun stuff like watch an episode of favorite TV show, read a chapter of your book, color a coloring page, even like going and getting ice cream. Like you put all these things in a jar and then you pull one out a day and you do at least one thing out of your jar a day. And then you try and do that for like a week consistently and then pull 2 things out of your jar and do that for a week, 2 weeks, and then pull 3 things out of your jar. And if you're like me, even before this happened, I had my periods of like depression, anxiety, and being very like unmotivated to do anything. If you're like me, getting out of bed and changing out of your pajamas is like a productive thing for me. So this is like a positive thing because just doing one thing a day for yourself and for like your mental health is so helpful and you don't even realize it. So I think that that exercise is also really great. I have struggled a lot with like this OCD side of things where I'm like, it's the weirdest thing. I'll be like, if I don't get down the stairs before the microwave goes off, something bad's gonna happen today. Or like something bad's gonna happen to my kid. Or I'll be driving and I'm like, if I get through this stoplight before it turns red, then I'm gonna get a call that there's good news on the boys. Like it's apparently something, as my psychologist said, that like your brain is trying to control situations that it's not in control of. And so I do that constantly. And I've been doing like exercises even to stop doing that. So like when those thoughts creep into my head, I'm like, it doesn't make a difference whether or not you run down the stairs at 15 miles an hour. Just trying to work through those things. It's like literally a full-time job to deal with postpartum depression and anxiety and just in general mental health. Like it really is a full-time job, but I think that it is possible. I'll tell you, like I was in such a dark place the last like 2 weeks, and I've honestly this last week have felt pretty good. I've cried, don't get me wrong. I've vented, I've been sad, but I've been working through it and it feels really good to be on the other side of this. And like I said, I think this week I can go into the nursery and do stuff, and you just find ways of working through things that you didn't know that you could. One thing I really struggle with, which sounds probably so stupid, but one thing I struggled with so bad was that they were growing out of their clothes and that they didn't get to wear them at the same time. And I didn't get to take pictures of them in their matching outfits, their preemie clothes. So this last week, I looked up 6 to 9 month or 9 to 12 month or even toddler clothes and like looked at how cute they're gonna be whenever I can match them in those outfits and saved them to like Pinterest boards and looked at stuff like that. Like it's all about training your mind to see the good in things and to just shifting into like a different focus. So literally that has helped me so much. It's so stupid. Like I looked at little beanies and jean jackets that they can wear when they get bigger that they're gonna look so cute in and they can match in, instead of like, oh, well, you know, they're not gonna get to wear all of these onesies. It's like, and then I even shifted my focus a little bit more into thinking, hopefully, fingers crossed soon, I will have all 3 of them able to wear clothes. So I will put them in their matching outfits in the NICU and I'll take pictures and I'll make a collage and that will be cute. Like you just have to train your brain to do things differently and see things differently and adapt to your environment and the circumstances. And I think that has been the biggest thing that has like really helped me the last week or so, is just like adapting to where we're at and the reality of what it is. It doesn't get completely easy. I mean, it's not easy. Mental health's never easy, but especially like this situation until they're all home, like this isn't going to be an easy thing to work through. But I think there's enough to be said about like NICU moms and even just moms in general, like postpartum moms. It's so hard and you're doing like the best that you can. And I think just little things each day, making those into accomplishments really helps. And I challenge you guys to get out this week, try and do some of those things, talk to someone, read, get out of the house, like go take yourself for ice cream or have a wine night. Like you have to take care of yourself and it's okay to not be okay. It really is. The more that you like embrace everything that you're feeling and going through, the more you can get through it and push through it and be a better version of you for yourself, for your husband, your wife, your significant other, your children. Like it's hard, but you can do it. And I have faith in all of us. I hope that just speaking out a little bit about this has helped you guys in some way and that you guys are able to cope with things a little bit easier. And I pray for all the moms going through stuff right now and, you know, coping with the things that you are. It's not forever, it's not permanent, and things will eventually get better. So just hold on to that thought and realize that every single day, you're one day closer to being a better you, or to having your baby out of the hospital, or whatever it is that you're struggling with mentally right now. I love you guys so much. Go do something today for yourself. Comment below what you're gonna do so that I can keep you accountable. And I will see you guys in an update video in a couple of days on the boys.